Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So today it's my Strange Fascinations episode number 18, which will feature Gene Simmons. That's this guy here. For any of you who don't know. Can't imagine there's too many that don't know him. Anyways, Gene Simmons came into my life in 1975. Not into my life personally, but he didn't come into my life, but his music and his image came into my life. I discovered Kiss at the store down the street from where we lived. It was a used record shop, and the album they had at the front, right on display, was Kiss Alive 2, and that brought Gene Simmons into my existence. I seen him on the cover. I thought, what is that? You know, when I listened to the music, and it was bombastic and out there, and then people told me that he breathes fire at the show and he spits blood. So like everybody else who had never experienced anything like this, who liked this kind of music, right away it had a huge impact. And he was the leader of that movement because he was the most outrageous and most bombastic of the four. You know, most people, at that time, when people would ask you what kind of music you like or that, I would say Kiss. They said, oh, that's that crazy bombastic guy who spits blood and stuff. That was the how do you say it? That was the representation of what Kiss was. Now, I'm not saying that the other musicians didn't have an impact. Obviously, they all did, and had more of an impact as time went on. So much so that his role was depleted quite a bit over the years. But initially, that's what people knew. That Kiss was that fire-breathing, blood-spitting, heavy metal band that was outrageous and had a bombastic show. So that's how Gene Simmons had his first impact on me. Now, he's had other impacts on me as well. He's not locked into that one impact. I mean, I never did see them live. I had a chance in '79. I never went because we had scheduled a camp trip at that time, and I went on that instead. I almost canceled. My sister ended up going and seeing them, and she's a huge fan, probably more so than I am. So anyways, once the band kicked Peter Criss out of the band, it began to wane at that point, and the same with a few years later with Ace Frehley leaving. Left basically Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley in control. I always thought of Gene Simmons as having a rather large ego. Most of his songs will indicate that. Large ego, coming out and talking about his book of 4,600 women. Yeah, pretty much sums him up, right? Just a very larger-than-life character with lots of bombast in him. But, I'm thinking that if he had been less than what he was, the Kiss would never have gotten off the ground. It wouldn't have existed. He went the full 9 yards to develop his character, to make this thing larger than life, to present it in the most outrageous fashion. He just went all out. And if you don't have a guy like that going all out, sometimes these things don't get off the ground very well. Nothing against Paul Stanley, who's a diligent, hard-working individual, and supported Gene, and they had that thing going on together. But Paul Stanley's character is kind of lazy. He's got a star on his eye and chases women. He's a lover. Okay, but the other guys put a little more effort into it, I think. So, anyways. So for me, now Gene Simmons, I actually like this solo album quite a bit. Not as much as Ace, but quite a bit. I liked it. I think he's done some I think for rock, he's one of the better vocalists. Like, this whole band has 4 good vocalists. I think Paul's probably the best vocalist of them all, but Peter Criss has that voice that is just, such a gravelly, like, perfect kind of bluesy kind of voice. But I don't think Gene Simmons is out of his league here. He's like, maybe not so much now, but back then his voice was fit the character perfectly. Everything he did fit his character. That was the thing about him that made him so bombastic and put Kiss on the map, so as I can say. And without Kiss, I probably would not have gotten too far into music too quickly. They are the ones that drew me in. They captivated me for a couple of years, and then I was released to discover other stuff. That's the way I look at it. Gene Simmons has had a couple of kids too, and he had his show, which, again, another bombastic show, but that's Gene Simmons for you. He's just out there, He really is out there. And without him, this whole thing might not be happening right here as it's happening now, because he got me into the music got me into this kind of thing, right? So, Gene Simmons, bass player, vocalist of Kiss, legend maybe, egotistical, absolutely, bombastic, yeah, definitely. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. What's your experience with Gene Simmons? What is your experience with Kiss in general, I guess? Anyways, I hope you like this episode, and please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated, and we'll be back with another episode tomorrow morning. So take care of yourself. Prog Monster out.